So once you have completed the first lab assignment to create a user account on one of the machines in the lab, you're ready to move on to lab assignment number 2, which is to create your first hypertext markup language document. As it states on the directions, you'll need to name the file that you create, index.html. You'll need to save it into the 3710 folder on your flash drive. You'll need to make sure that the page, when you're done with it, includes the who, what, where, when information that makes a page freestanding, as discussed in our textbook. The page should include a working link to our syllabus homepage. And finally, you should upload everything to the server, the lockbox.clayton.edu server, so that the page is visible when I look for it on your Lockbox account. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. In Dreamweaver, let me get this out of the way. In Dreamweaver, you should already be connected to the remote server so that everything is working, and you should see the 3710 folder that is the site of your local website. And if that's the case, creating web page is very straightforward. Simply go to File, New. So the kind of document we're going to create is basically the simplest thing that Dreamweaver can do. As you can see here, it knows lots and lots of different coding languages. And even under HTML, there's lots of other options that you might select. But what we want are the basic defaults. We want a blank page, type HTML with layout none. And once we've got that, we click Create, and the page is opened. This blank document is opened in the document window in Dreamweaver. Okay, so the first step is probably should be to go ahead and save this. As it says here, the file should be called index.html, and it should be saved into the 3710 folder. So let's go ahead and accomplish that. In Dreamweaver, just go to File, Save. All right. So we're going to call the file index.html for reasons that I'll discuss in class. But it does need to be exactly that, index.html. And we'll find on our flash drive the class folder, the root folder, and then the 3710 folder. And that's where you're going to save the page. You can ignore this notes folder. That's just something that Dreamweaver adds for some background work. But once you've got the file name correct and have it targeting the 3710 folder, simply click Save. And a couple of things happen. One, you'll see the new name of the file in the window at the top of the document window. But what you'll also see in the Files panel is that the 3710 folder now has a file in it, the one that you just told Dreamweaver to save to your flash drive. If you don't see that file and you see the triangle pointing at the folder, just click on the triangle so that it will reveal the folders that or the files and folders that are inside of it. And that is now this document. Okay, so the first thing that we'll do is change the title. The title for this document should be, as always, very precise and specific. In this case, it should be your sworn username. Please don't use your full name, since that violates federal laws. Dash, and then first web page dash CMS 3710. Okay, so when you set the title here, what actually happens can be seen in code view. Those words were added inside of the open title and closed title portion of the document. In design view, though, that's the only place that we have access to the title. You also see here this asterisk next to the file name. That's Dreamweaver's way of indicating that you have made changes to the document, but you haven't saved them yet. So when I go to File, Save, now we'll see that asterisk disappear. And so it does. Okay, so the title for this document will be My First Web Page. And then we'll write a sentence that explains to somebody that lands on this from some random link in Google exactly what this thing is that they're looking at. Created for CMS 3710, a class offered at Clayton State University in fall 2015, or whatever semester you happen to be enrolled in this class. After that, we'll just add a little bit more information to complete the who, what, when, where 4 W's. A student project, CMS 3710, and then today's date. All right, so I've made changes to the document. I see the asterisks reminding me that that's so. I'll go ahead and save those changes now. All right, so Dreamweaver assumes by default when you start typing into a document that what you're creating is a paragraph, and it codes those words inside a p tag to indicate that. But of course this line here, my first web page, really doesn't function in this document as a paragraph. It's instead more like a topmost level heading. So what we want to do is change the tag that's used to define those 4 words to something that's more semantic, that's more appropriate. And you can do that, of course, in Code View by swapping out the P's for H1, or you can ask Dreamweaver to do it in Design View by locating the Format drop-down menu in the Properties panel and selecting Heading 1. That will change the line, wherever the cursor happens to be, to whatever tag you tell Dreamweaver to use. And of course, in Design View, Dreamweaver is trying to show you what the page will look like in some kind of generic browser when somebody loads the page. But in Code View, you can always see exactly what the web page actually is. In this case, 4 words, my first web page, are now enclosed within the H1 tag. All right, so going back to our directions. We've saved the file as index.html in the 3710 folder. We've included who, what, where, and when information that make the page freestanding. Now let's add a working link to the syllabus homepage. It's important to do this properly. Whenever you're creating a link that's going to open a page outside of your site in someone else's website, it's important to get the link character for character correct. The simplest way to do that is to actually open the page in a browser. This is the page we want to link to. We know now that this URL is correct because we can actually see the page. So we can copy that URL and then switch back to Dreamweaver and paste that URL information in the appropriate place. All right. In this case, these 2 words, CMS 3710, will be clickable, and when clicked, will open the W4DM page. The way that I tell Dreamweaver that's what I want to happen is in the Properties panel again to find the link box and to paste the URL that was on the clipboard into that box. And I click anywhere in the window, and Dreamweaver accepts that change. And again, in Design View, it shows you a close approximation of what the page is going to look like when it's opened in a browser. And once again, we can save. All right, so now let's go through the same process with Clayton State University to add a link that will open clayton.edu when somebody clicks on it. Once again, the first step is always to go to the browser and actually open the page that people should see, in that case this one, copy the URL, switch back to Dreamweaver, select the words that you want to be clickable, find the link box in the Properties panel, and paste. All right, once again, we're going to save. And that is the first assignment. What we will do now is upload this version that we've created and saved onto our flash drive. We'll make a copy of it and place that copy on the remote server. The way that you do that in Dreamweaver is to use what's called the put arrow. which turns blue when you hover over it, and you see the tooltip there says put files to remote server, which is exactly what we want to do. So you tell Dreamweaver what you want to put by selecting it. That would put just the index.html page, but since this 3710 folder doesn't yet exist on the remote server, we're going to copy both the folder and the contents now. So select that, click Put, and you'll get a File Activity Complete notification at the bottom of the file panel. But more importantly, once you've uploaded it, you should go to the actual remote site and test it. The simplest way to do that is in your browser to find the Lockbox website tool. This is available on every single page in our syllabus. And it's simply a matter now of typing in your Swan username. In my case, it's S. Spence, and clicking Open. And there indeed is the first page that I just created on this day. All right. And with that, you are done, and you can move on to the lab assignment 3, which is to add some style to this page by creating a cascading style sheet document called home.css.